Speaking. Summon. Bijou. Shadow Soldier. Pause. Long pause. Yenghanan. Disclaimer. I own nothing. Edit. For 1724. Fixing some mistakes like misspellings, missing words I missed during a few read-throughs, or adding some content. The new Shadow Monarch. Land of Fire. Konohagakure no Sato. Kushina Uzumaki could barely keep her eyes open as she is inscribing a seal in her own blood on her newborn's chest. The reason for this seal is to pass on the power and knowledge passed down since the beginning of her clan. The power of the Shadow Monarch, a powerful gift passed down to her by the Uzumaki's honorable ancestor, a godlike being named Ashborn. This power allows one to raise the dead as shadow-like version of said person. The one who receives the Shadow Monarch's power were also given a power known as magic, which is not dissimilar to chakra and can pass as such. You'll have to build your own shadow army, but I know someone more than willing to be your first Kushina, whispers, sniffling as tears leak from her violet eyes. The seal she has inscribed will leak the knowledge and power into his body until he fully awakens around the time he is 8. Kushina, a voice shouts. Kushina weakly looks up as she cradles her baby. El Lord Third, she says. Hiruzen Sarutobi reaches her as he sees his successor Minato Namikaze laying dead with a hole in his gut. What happened? He says. No time, Sarutobi. This is our son Naruto. Please take care of him. He's a Hiro, Kushina mutters. Hiruzen gently takes the baby and looks down at the blonde babe with 3 whiskers on his face. What happened to the Kyuubi, he says, but Kushina has passed on already. Could they? He thought, looking at Naruto. The former Hokage would call the shinobi clan heads, his former advisors and a few leaders of merchant clans to take stock, but reveal Naruto to them. The attack by the Kyuubi has caused so much damage to the village, and many lives were lost. This blinds many to Naruto's existence, and believe he is the 9-tailed fox reborn. Naruto's life from that moment is nothing short of hell, as the villagers of Konoha learn. He holds the fox by the unscrupulous actions of one of Hiruzen's advisors. The villagers hurt the child in retaliation to what the Kyuubi has done to their homes, as well as the countless people it killed. Hiruzen creates a law to try and give Naruto a chance at a normal life, but underestimated the hatred of the villagers. His newly created council, comprised of the shinobi clan heads, fellow elders and wealthy merchant clans, kept him inundated with paperwork, which took his focus away from Naruto. By the time Naruto was 7, numerous attacks had been perpetuated on him, with those who did getting bullshit sentences due to members of his council. If one were to look at Naruto, you could not tell he was 7 due to malnutrition that has caused his stunted growth. Naruto walks through the village with his head down to avoid the looks of the villagers. Most, if not all, look at him with hate in their eyes. It's been 2 years since he was kicked out the orphanage, and away from his only friend. He named Panda. She called him Foxy, and went against the tide of doing everything to harm him. She would sneak him food when the matron denied him breakfast, lunch, snacks, or dinner. Played with him and shared her toys when no one else would, even taking verbal abuse from kids or the matron. Foxy, a voice shouts as the blonde passes a weapons shop. Naruto stops and looks back to girl with brown hair and 2 panda buns. Her eyes were a gray tone but very familiar. Panda, Naruto says, his eyes flickering. The 8-year-old girl runs up to the blonde with a shocked look. What happened to you, she says. Tenten, a voice says, and Panda looks back to see her father Tetsuo Higurashi. But when she turns back, Naruto is gone. What's wrong, Tetsuo says, looking around. I found my friend from the orphanage named Foxy, but he ran away, Tenten says. Foxy, Tetsuo says, confused but pieces it together when Tenten says his name. His name is Naruto and I called him Foxy for the whiskers on his cheeks. And he called me Panda, Tenten says. It would be 2 more years before Panda and Foxy would see each other again. On Naruto's 8th birthday and the Kyuubi festival did his annual beating take place as over the past 3 years. The villagers regulated their attacks to the Kyuubi festival as ninja would be busy with the festival. A large group of villagers dragged the blonde against his will to a dark alley, beating him black and blue with their fists, stomps, pipes, or a 2b4 that breaks over him from overuse. "This is for our pain. Demon brat!" one shouts, stomping Naruto on the back. Naruto curls into a ball as best as he can, but the blows continue. "Your very existence is a curse upon this village," one woman screeches. Once the group was finished, they left Naruto to bleed out in the alley. While they were smiling and laughing about the fun they had beating on a kid, Naruto watches them leave in a half-conscious state as whatever blessing or curse heals him, but also a seal on his chest begins to unseal itself. Music. G-O-O Sib-Thruzeron. Naruto awakens and looks around to see he wasn't in the alley that he had just spent the last hour being beaten to within an inch of his life in. This place resembles some sort of sewer that makes him think the people dumped him into one. He staggers to his feet and dusts himself off, but sees 2 paths before him, with both of them leading down dark and barely lit tunnels. Right. It is, Naruto thought, heading right, and travels for what seems like hours, but it was only a few minutes. He soon finds himself in front of a large prison of some sort, barred off by thick metal bars and a fairly large seal placed upon it. "So, my jailer has..." Finally greets me, a deep and ominous voice says. Naruto freezes as 2 very large red eyes open in the darkness, having black slit pupils. "Jailer," he says, before a large orange tail snaps its way out of the prison. The tail grabs Naruto and pulls him towards the prison as 2 rows of sharp teeth appear amid the darkness. The closer Naruto gets, does he begin to see a massive orange fox with 9 tails, and a loud roar echoes through the blonde, but someone saves him. Dark shadows made of black, purple, and blue slice the tail, and the beast roars in pain. Naruto looks left and sees a figure emerging from the shadows, being a huge, muscular warrior with glowing flame-like purple hair, glowing purple eyes, 2 curved black horns, sharp claws, wearing jet black armor and a long, smoky black cloak. "Well, who are you?" Naruto says. The figure looks to the fox demon and raises their right hand, and the demon slams into the ground as if some mystery force is keeping it submissive. "Now we can talk," the figure states, in an echoing tone. "Who are you?" Naruto asks. "I am Ashborn, and I am your ancestor of sorts," the figure says. Naruto is about to ask more, but his head begins to throb with a head-splitting headache beyond description. It feels like his actual soul itself is trying to break through his skull for some reason, but visions assault him and meld into his brain. "Do you see now?" Ashborn states, and Naruto nods. "I couldn't really see everything, but I understand. My father Minato Namikaze sacrificed his soul to seal half the Kyuubi no Yoko inside me, and my mother Kushina Uzumaki passed her powers as the new Shadow Monarch to me," Naruto says, rubbing his temples. "Yes, and no other monarchs or rulers exist here," Ashborn states, answering a question before Naruto could ask. "The ability she had in life I have now, like stealth, ruler's authority, dragon fear, shadow extraction, preservation, exchange, and monarch's domain," Naruto says. "Yes, but you have no shadows. You will need to build your own army," Ashborn states, and looks to the Kyuubi. "And I know the perfect first shadow soldier," Ashborn adds, and grabs Naruto to point him towards the bars. "Now say the words," Ashborn finishes, giving the tiny blonde some help. "Arise," Naruto declares, and with one word, the dark power of the Shadow Monarch explodes out. The Kyuubi couldn't move from its place and perishes in seconds of Naruto's new powers being unleashed, soon becoming Naruto's first and fiercest warrior. Song ends. Yenentan. Naruto snaps awake in the back alley and feels like his body is much stronger than before. So much, in fact, that he crushes the piece of wood used to beat him. He slowly gets to his feet and moves his limbs with them, feeling stiff, but popping his limbs helps. He looks around his surrounding and picks up a discarded kunai. Here goes Naruto, thought, using his inventory, and it works. He then connects to his inventory, but nothing in it but the kunai. That sucks, but I'll just need to fill it, Naruto muses, taking the kunai out and tossing aside. Now I need a place to train, Naruto thought, leaving the alley. The festival is still going on, and Naruto uses stealth to hide himself from prying eyes. This ability allows him to camouflage himself from his surroundings and hide all traces of his presence, essentially turning himself both physically and magically invisible. He sets off towards the main street of the village, swiping food from various stalls to feed himself. He finds a shinobi equipment store after filling his belly and uses stealth to enter behind a customer. He waits in a corner until the customer leaves and the owner goes to the storage room in the back. Now then, Naruto thought, clearing out the rack of kunai and shuriken. He slips out the store when another customer enters to be accused stealing so many weapons and jailed. Naruto heads for his destination, known as the Forest of Death, a large forest that is surrounded by a high chain-link fence to keep the beasts within it inside of it, according to stories. Naruto looks around and sees no one as he clambers up the fence and down it, before trekking into the dark place. He finds a suitable place to test out newest member of his shadow army. "Arise," Naruto declares. The once terrifying Kyuubi no Yoko rises from the ground, but albeit smaller than before, the size of a bear, and still big for an 8-year-old. Good Naruto thought, but growling catches his attention, before seeing a large bear that is easily 10 feet tall on its hind legs. "Perfect. He's all yours," Naruto says, and the fox charges the roaring bear. "It needs a name," he says, beginning to think of one. The shadow fox leaps for the throat of the rising bear, and latches on as the bear swipes at its shadowy body. But it isn't enough, while the fox rips open its throat and both crash to the ground. Naruto approaches the now dead bear as the fox bows its head. "Good work, Inari." "Arise," he says, making a shadow of the bear. He waves his hand to send Inari away, but leaves the bear for shadow exchange before heading back to the fence, heading for his second destination, and that being his parents' home. Renenhan. Naruto finds the house after sifting some of his downloaded memories, finding it near the Hokage Mountain and hidden by a miniature jungle. He uses stealth to reach the front gate, and from a distance, the home looks intact. He places his hand on the seal on the gate and hopes for the best, but after a few seconds, hears a click. He opens the gate and passes through, but quickly closes it to keep people from knowing he was here. He trudges through the veritable jungle and reaches the home, but finds the door isn't locked as he enters. This would have been home, Naruto says to himself, and sees everything is covered in a layer of dust. He wanted to turn on the light, but finds he can see perfectly in the dark as he begins exploring. The home has a large kitchen, a door that leads towards the basement, 3 separate bathrooms, a master bedroom, 2 guest rooms, and 1 last room, but the young blonde could not approach it. He heads for a guest room and turns in for the night, getting a great night's sleep for the first time in a long time. 6 months would pass, and it is heavenly for the blonde as he lives by a strict schedule of learning, as well as training, and it shows given his large arsenal of skills. His days were spent using stealth to sneak around the village and steal the food he would need for the day, or head for Ichiraku ramen. He would head back home after eating a hearty breakfast before descending into the basement. It houses a vast library of scrolls and books of all sorts. Here he learned about his family history, mostly his mother's side since his father is an orphan. It had taken him 6 months to read everything, moving them to his inventory, and soon finds his parents' journal. He learned his parents loved him dearly, or rather his mother loved him dearly. In his father or sperm donor's journal, he learned he conspired with his sensei Jiraiya to turn him into a weapon for the village. I wonder if the old man knows this, Naruto thought. The Sandaime tried his best to keep him safe, but he is one against many going behind his back. Noon comes and he eats a big lunch, then swap places with the bear now named Winter inside the Forest of Death, and begins his training regimen. He punches trees to harden his bones, runs for miles around the place, and did non-stop push-ups as well as sit-ups along with pull-ups. He works his body to the core, and it begins to show since his body is no longer thin and sickly looking as it has been in the past. When he did train in the forest, many deadly animals were afoot, and he gained some more shadows. A group of tigers, bears, giant spiders, giant wasps, and a very large snake. He also has to avoid the mistress of the forest named Anko Mitarashi, but she catches him a few times. "What's a brat like you doing here?" "This place isn't for kids," Anko remarks with a raised eyebrow, her tone a curious mix of annoyance and amusement. She wears a provocative outfit and has purple hair and fanned ponytail with pupil-less brown eyes. "I'm hiding," Naruto says, trying to be cowardly. Bold words for a little guy. "This forest can eat the likes of you alive," Anko says, a smirk playing on her lips. "I'll take my chances," Naruto says, avoiding her eyes. Her smirk softens into an unexpected smile. "Well, brat. Stick close to the fence if you want to hide here," Anko says and vanishes with Shunshin. "I need to be more careful," Naruto thought, using shadow exchange with Bird in his parents' home. Yenentan. "Hello, Naruto. I am Makoto, Uchiha," a woman says, catching Naruto at Ichiraku. He turns to a beautiful woman with long, straight black hair having bangs hanging on either side of her face to roughly frame her cheeks and black eyes. She wears a simple dark purple blouse with a red plum skirt. "Hello," Naruto says, and this meeting would yield Naruto his second most powerful shadow soldier. Naruto learns from Makoto that in a unilateral move, the major shinobi villages decided to give the next generation a chance to be children and raise the age of becoming shinobi to 18, but those who showed strength and mental fortitude could graduate at 16. He learned Makoto was his godmother, but also she knew his mother's secret as a Shadow Monarch. She even revealed that she is dying and would die in a few years, with a request to become Shadow Soldier for him. He reluctantly agreed to his godmother's request, and that request would come 2 years later. "Forgive me for forcing such a choice on you," Makoto says. Now a Shadow Soldier. She resembles herself when she was alive, but her skin is light blue and dressed in Konoha Jonin attire, but in dark colors, and her vest is like light armor. "You were dying and made a promise to Mom," Naruto says, now 10 and looking much healthier. "Yes, but I worry for my clan and my children," Makoto says, and Naruto tilts his head. She explains that after the Kyuubi incident, her clan became social pariahs after many saw a Sharingan eye in the fox's eyes. The newly minted council had the clan move to furthest edge of the village near the jail, causing a rift to form, and as time passed, coup d'etat began to be whispered. "Now that I am gone, I fear Fugaku will poison my children. More so Sasuke, as Itachi is more level-headed, and her being sent the capital will help to break his influence." Makoto explains, and he decides to have her keep an eye on the Uchiha. Makoto helps him with learning some of the jutsu in his parents' library, but more so his mother's, as he was weary of learning his father's jutsu. She had him focus on control, but also get his hands on chakra paper to learn his elemental affinities alongside magical abilities. He manages to swipe some from a shinobi store, learning he has an affinity for lightning, wind, and fire. He learned to duplicate some jutsu with his magic, molding it in numerous ways or just flat out tossing it in various forms such as balls or spikes. 2 more years would pass and Naruto finally enters the academy, meeting children his age, with a few being from shinobi or merchant clans. Some were nice like Shikamaru Nara and Choji Akimichi, some neutral like Shino Aburame and Ino Yamanaka, but many were antagonistic like Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha, with many others. The teachers would find any little thing to send him out of class, but the blonde didn't mind this, as he now knows the Kage Bunshin Jutsu. He would leave a clone and shadow exchange to the forest to train. He was taught wrong stances in taijutsu or wrong ways in shuriken jutsu, but that was no issue for him. Renentan. Naruto sits on a swing with a small lunch in his lap as other students were in little groups. "You should make friends, sweetie," Makoto says. "Why? They just don't like me and listen their parents because of Inari, Naruto thought. He used his stealth to hide in Hiruzen's office, to learn more about Inari, and did courtesy of some old people, speaking about his law concerning him, and how he created a law to give him a normal childhood. A lot of good, that did, Naruto thought, eating some chicken bites. Heads up, Makoto says, and Naruto looks up to see Tenten. Foxy, Tenten says, and Naruto sighs with a nod. How are things in class? You made any friends, she adds, but Naruto shakes his head, causing her to frown. Just as their conversation is about to delve deeper into the paths their lives have taken since their last encounter, a piercing screech cuts through their nostalgic reunion. Why are you talking to him? A voice screeches. Behind them is Sakura. He's someone I know, and it's not up to you to decide who I talk to. Tenten says, her voice firm yet calm and manifesting her disapproval of Sakura's unwarranted outburst. He's bad. My mommy said so, Sakura says, crossing her arms. And Tenten says with a minor pause, but the pinkette has no retort. Then leave us alone, she adds. See? A friend, Mikoto comments. The 11-year-old would have constant partner during lunches or after school. Introducing him to her dad and the bear of man was very nice to him, unlike most adults, or so both believe. Get out, Uzumaki, a no-name teacher says, and numerous students laugh. Seems your fate as a nothing continues, Hinata says, as the blonde passes. He ignores the Hyuga as Kiba tries to trip him, but the blonde hops over his foot, before thinking of crushing Kiba's foot. He heads to the bathroom and leaves the academy for the Forest of Death, but he is being followed by several to ascertain the boy's level. He reaches the fence and hops over with ease compared to his first incursion into the forest. Naruto, Mikoto says, as Naruto lands in very large clearing. He quickly has to avoid a flurry of shuriken as about a dozen or so people in Anbu gear appear, but their masks are blank. Who are you? Naruto says, but none say anything. They draw their tantos and rush Naruto, but he quickly uses ruler's authority to lift the thrown shuriken, sending him towards the blank mask Anbu. A few find the mark and pierce one Kunoichi as she crashes to the ground, as this freezes Naruto with one kicking him in the back towards the dying Kunoichi. Arise! Naruto shouts. Inari, Winter, and Makoto rise to fight along with now dead Kunoichi. Is this one of Kyuubi's powers, one says, but they wouldn't be able to tell their master about it. Naruto raises the dead blank mask Anbu, but their bodies turn to ashes by blue flames. Who are you people, he says, but none of them can talk. Nay, or root, Makoto says, as Naruto falls on his butt. Nay, Naruto says, confused. It's a faction of the Anbu and created for the village's protection, but their methods, they're more extreme. They operate under the philosophy that the individual does not matter, only the mission. They are led by an elder named Danzo Shimura. He is someone with dark machinations for the village, Makoto says with a grave tone, and Naruto looks even more confused. He wants you as weapon, she adds, shocking the blonde. This would inspire him to grow stronger, but also cement his choice to leave Konoha for a while. Makoto got his soldiers to show her where Danzo's base is, and this garnered the blonde some more solidars, but learning of the surveillance on her clan due to said coup, as 2 more years passed. Makoto kept an eye on her clan, and the coup has been solidified when Itachi returned from the capital. Naruto also learned Itachi and her friend Shisui were leaking information to the Hokage and his advisors. Yenenhan. Are you sure about this, Makoto says, inside Naruto's shadow. The blonde is packing all his things and dressed in dark clothes, yes. Leaving Konoha is the best thing for me. I can only do so much in the village. Traveling will yield me some more shadow soldiers. Though I hate that Itachi has to cull your clan, or leaving Tenten behind, Naruto says, now 13. The decision to kill the Uchiha comes 3 days after Shisui Uchiha disappears, and the choice is made to cull them. Naruto leaves his apartment and uses stealth to head for the Uchiha district as the moon hangs in the sky. It's already begun, Makoto says, as Naruto finds a few bodies once he passes through the gates. She guides him to which Uchiha to raise as shadow soldiers, each skilled ninja with fully developed Sharingan. What about Fugaku? Naruto says, heading for her home. That is your choice, Makoto says sadly. Naruto reaches the house and searches for Fugaku, finding him face down with Itachi standing over him, and the young woman looks cold. Dad, a voice shouts, and Naruto hides, seeing Sasuke. He listens as Itachi tells Sasuke that she killed everyone to show her power. Tsukuyomi, Naruto thought. A powerful genjutsu. Why would she use such on him? Makoto says, seeing her youngest run off, followed by her oldest. Naruto slips into the room and makes his way towards Fugaku. I don't know, he says, and his eyes glow purple. Arise, he adds. Fugaku twitches as his shadow variant rises from his body and no longer resembles his human self. Instead is a muscular humanoid with a light purple glow, glowing red Sharingan eyes, glowing purple hair, sharp claws, and a fractured horned skull mask that exposes the upper right portion of his face. He kneels to Naruto with his head bowed. From now on you will serve Makoto, and you will not speak unless she tells you to. Nod your head if you understand, Naruto says, and Fugaku nods. Thank you, Naruto, Makoto says, giggling darkly. Naruto dismisses Fugaku and uses Shadow Exchange with a bird he sent out hours before to slip out undetected, appearing on the coast of Fire Country, and the smell of the sea catches his nose. Where to now? Makoto asks. According to the map and the memories of those now agents, Water Country is a good place to hide for now, Naruto says, summoning Fugaku and sending him to find him a shark or some large sea creature. Wave is good place to stop for supplies. Why not stop in Uzushio before heading into Mizumakoto suggests. About 30 minutes later, Fugaku returns with 25-foot shark and Naruto makes a shadow of it to ride across the water into Wave Country. About an hour later, sandy shores come into view, and he dismisses his shark named Jaws, before pulling the hood of his big hoodie up to hide his face, and makes his way inland. He soon sees a town, but this certain depressing atmosphere hits him, The people were downtrodden with children playing, yet all of them stick close to themselves, and didn't even so much as look up when he walks past them. What is going on? Naruto thought, but gets his answer due to the sounds of a man being beaten up. He finds the source of 5 men, with one on the ground being stomped or hit with a pipe, while a 6th man holds a pregnant woman hostage with a flintlock pistol. Where is our payment? One of the mobsters demands, kicking the man in the gut. I already paid Gato last week, the man shouts, in pain, but the men laugh. That's funny, said the man holding the man's wife at gunpoint, since I do the bookkeeping for Gato, and I don't remember a payment from your family, he adds. What do you want from us? The downed man shouts, but Naruto has heard enough. Gentlemen, Naruto shouts, and everyone looks his way. Beat it, Kid One says, approaching with a steel baton. Naruto doesn't move as the guy grabs him by the front of his hoodie, but the blonde slices his throat, spraying blood to the shock of everyone. Naruto walks past the now dead man as he crashes to the ground, and in the blonde's hand is a kunai. Get him, the man holding a pistol shouts. The men rush Naruto, and he avoids the first punch into a spinning low kick to snap his leg, a leaping punt kick to a second's chin, a kunai to the temple to the third. You brat, the pistol man says, but a kunai pierces his forehead. The woman screams as the man crashes to the ground and rushes to the downed man while Naruto approaches. Are you two all right? Naruto says. Yes, but who are you? The man says. Nobody. What is this all about? Naruto says, pointing his thumb to the dead. The man named Kaiza and his wife Tsunami spill their story quickly, as it starts with the owner of the main shipping line dying. Their island relies on shipping lines to trade and prosper as a community, but that changed when a shipping company owned by Gato moves in. The man acts as a tyrant by monopolizing the shipping lines and hiring thugs to control the populace. Those who spoke against Gato go missing to never be found. Disgusting, Makoto hisses in Naruto's shadow. Where can I find Gato? Naruto says, shocking the pair. You're just a kid. You can't defeat Gato, Tsunami says. I've learned the evil triumphs when good men do nothing. Have faith, and I'll take care of it, Naruto says and turns on his heels, leaving the pair. Naruto moves through the town and sends some soldiers out in shadowy forms to find Gato's place. One soon finds Gato's compound, and Naruto uses Shadow Exchange near the place, leaping up into a tree to look over things. Not a big place, Naruto thought, and leaps down. Arise, he says, summoning all his shadows. Two guards see a tiger and fox charging them, but they have no time to react before they were killed. Naruto's shadow army rush into the compound as Makoto stays at Naruto's side, with screams beginning to echo. Makoto kicks the gate off its hinges as Naruto sees bodies. Think any are worth using, he says. If they were ninja, Makoto comments, but sees Inari dragging a short man in a suit. You must be Gato, Naruto says, removing his hood. Who the hell are you? Gato hisses and screams as Inari latches onto his leg. Who I am is none of your business. I am simply ridding the world of scum, Naruto says, squatting down and unleashing his bloodlust. This freezes Gato, and the mini tyrant wets his pants in the process. Please don't. He starts, but Naruto slices through his throat with his kunai. He has one of his new display Gato in the center of town, and he explores the compound, but sees nothing he wants, leaving the money for the people. Naruto leaves Wave as quickly as he arrives and heads for Uzushio, while the people find Gato's corpse. Kaiza leads a group of people to Gato's compound to find the bodies, and Kaiza says this must have been their mysterious savior. The people would sing the praises of the mystery hero, but they would meet him again some years later. Naruto reaches the land of whirlpools and sees numerous whirlpools, with one being nearly a half-mile wide. He reaches the island and makes 100 clones and summons his shadows to begin exploring as he moves on his own by moving straight. The countryside is dominated by steep hills, but the blonde soon sees skeletons from adults to the smallest of children. His mother's journal said the village of Uzushiyogakure has several tall buildings with a wide river running through the village, parcellated in many places by large bridges. I wonder what the village was like before its fall, Naruto thought, leaping along the remains of a bridge. One of his nan finds a tower similar to the Hawkage, and he exchanges to it to begin exploring. The building is half destroyed, but he finds a stairway leading underground to a sealed vault of sorts. He checks it, and it seems to have a blood seal, before cutting his palm and unlocking the vault. He enters the vault and doesn't find much inside but a few weapons. Tenten would have field day here, Naruto thought, thinking of his first friend and her weapon obsession. He finds 3 sets of daggers called Demon King's daggers, a pair of large black daggers with brown hilts and red blade guards that resemble a demon's mouth. Samurai Killer being a pair of small black and orange daggers with gray hilt. Yubi's Wrath being a pair of large light orange daggers with gray hilts and glowing blood-red edges, with one dagger being thicker than the other. The smaller dagger has a black blade guard, while the thicker one has a golden blade guard. These daggers were made from Inari's fangs. Not bad, Naruto says, moving to a pair of long swords. The first sword, a long light-colored sword with a thick black line running through the center of the blade and an arched blade guard that curves downward. The second sword is 10-part segmented blade, with each segment being wider than the one preceding it from the hilt. 2 pick-like protrusions on the front and back of each segment, the ones on the front much longer than the ones on the back. Demon King's longsword and no name. One can create miniature lightning storms and the other extends 10 feet and channel the elements, Naruto says, looking to the last 2 weapons. One is a pair of bracelets called the Scorching Gauntlets, and the other is the Uzumaki Revolving Rifle, Colt New Model Revolving Rifle. The Scorching Gauntlets are arm-length armored gauntlet made with chakra metal having claws, red plating on the hands and golden disjins up the arm like flames. Repeating rifle with 56 projectile, Naruto reads, putting each weapon into his inventory. He finds a journal about the history of his clan, and exploits of previous Shadow Monarchs with only 3 previous ones, each using their own style of weapons. One used No Name and the Demon King Longsword. The second used Samurai Killer, Demon King Daggers and Inari's Wrath, while the last used the Repeating Rifle and a pair of revolver named Ebony and Ivory. No. Pistols, Naruto thought, confused. However, turning the last page does his blood boil as elements in Konoha betrayed the Uzumaki, namely Jiraiya and Danzo by the writer's estimation. Danzo.